بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are starting our third lesson of Tajweed, and as usual I will start with a calligraphy, and I want to show you this. If you know, you can raise your hand and tell me what it is. So that's good. Let's have Farzana repeat that.
فإذا أزمت
عزمت.
فتوكل على الله.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So this is from the Quran, right? And it is taken from Surah Ali Imran. This is actually from chapter Ali Imran, and you see the translation here says, then when you have taken a decision, put your trust in Allah. فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى. But this is actually taken from the all the ayah is below, and I'm showing it to you here. So it's chapter 3, verse 159. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله إن الله يحب المتوكلين. So you can see it's actually a larger ayah, and we will try to do this, and anytime I have a chance I can actually do a little bit of tafsir of Quran, I will do it, but we want to focus more on Tajweed. All right, so what do we have for today? First, we have a quiz, a very quick quiz. Quiz time. First question, if you know, raise your hand as usual. First question, how many sounds are produced from the makhraj of the lips? Raise your hand if you know. Okay, I see Lynn. Lynn, can you reply?
4, brother.
4 sounds, okay, and they are?
Fa, ba, mim.
The last one?
Wow.
Wow, yes. So we have four consonants. Fa, which is produced using the lips and the teeth. Fa. Then we have mim, ba, and wow, which is produced actually without closing the lips but rounding the lips. Wow, wow. We don't close the lips. Okay, good sister. Good job, sister. We have the next question in this quiz. How many sections are there in the tongue? Al-lisan for pronunciation. Raise your hands. We said the tongue is divided, right? For pronunciation. Okay. Brother, I believe Shadab. Shadab. Go ahead. 3. Good job. Good job. 3. So, and they are?
Last part of the tongue.
Very good. The back part of the tongue. Very good, brother. MashaAllah. Excellent, brother. Let's continue, and we have the last question for today's quiz. But actually, it's not a question. It's just I want to tell you that we have so far seen 4 articulation points. The first lesson we have seen 2, and last week we have seen 2, which makes a total of 4. And today we will complete the last articulation point. So the ones we have seen so far are, first of all, the nose, the throat. Then last week we've seen the lips and the tongue. And today, inshallah, we will explore this one. It will be our last. And I like to call it EMTS because it's too long, so I use abbreviation. Okay, so this last articulation point, inshallah, I call it EMTS. You don't have to call it like that, but it's just to remember. What is EMTS? It's this. Empty mouth and throat space. All right. How many sounds do we produce here? Do you know? Actually, we don't have specific sounds. It was a trick question. Sometimes I do that. But this is a very important articulation point because we use it for what we call mad or lengthening. Alif, ya, wow. E, u. Okay? So it's like a pipe where we are using to make the letters long. So we don't really pronounce any sound or consonants, but we are making the extension of vowels. Alif, ya, wow. So this space helps us to produce long sounds. What we call in Arabic al-mad, which is actually written here. So there is no other part of the mouth which is used to lengthen sounds. And the green area that you see here shows that empty mouth and throat space used to produce the sound mad. E, u. Okay. So for example, we have a word alladhina. Alladhina. Okay, here's another mad. Iyaka. So you see that green sound, the green letter here, not the shadda, but the green letter alif and the green ya. This is the lengthening of the sound. Where it's produced in this part. Okay. Or for example, yuqimuna. So we have here one mad and another mad. E, u, okay. Or yawmiddin. So this we have it in Al-Fatiha, right? Maliki yawmiddin. All right, so that was it. That's all. That's the only thing we need to learn about this articulation point. Huh? Alif, ya, wow, e, u. This is why it's helpful. This empty throat and mouth space. This is why it's helpful. So now what are we going to do? We're going to switch to the rule. So last week, alhamdulillah, we have learned our first rule of Tajweed, which is al-ghunna, right? So what do we have? We actually have we have basically two letters. We have the letter Nun, and we have the letter Mim. And whenever we have a shadda on them, we have to mark two counts. Okay, that's ghunna. Nasalization. Now, the new rule for this week is the following. I'm going to give you a little hint and then you can guess. Okay, let's ask Sister Nida. What is the rule of Tajweed?
I think Qalqalah means bouncing word.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. This is Qalqalah. Now, what does it say here in Arabic? It says Atb Jad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of, Ta, Ba, Jim, Da. Atb Jad. This is Ahruf al-Qalqalah, the letters of Qalqalah. Now, what is this? It's just a way to remember the letters of Qalqalah. But just to get us started, we will know from the beginning that these 5 letters here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last week we talked about Mim and Nun, but this week we have only these 5 letters that we're going to focus on. They are the letters of Qalqalah, Qutb Jad. Now, Arabic native speakers, if they forget, oh, what are the letters of Qalqalah? They just need to remember this expression, Qutb Jad, Qutb Jad. It doesn't mean anything in Arabic, but it's just a way to remember the letters, Qutb Jad. Okay, now since many of us are English speakers too, we have another way to remember these letters. We can say, don't be quick to jump. Don't be quick to jump. Okay. قطب جد. That's another way to remember the letters of Qalqalah. What is the rule of Qalqalah? The Qalqalah in Arabic, it's also known as bouncing. In English, bounce or echo. Echo. When you have something that bounces or echoes, that's what we call Qalqalah. And what is the rule of Qalqalah? Here is the rule for you, and we are going to read it. I'm going to read it for you. Whenever you come across the letters Qaf, Ta, Ba, Jim, Dal, in the state of Sukoon, or here, what is Sukoon? Sukoon is when you have this on top of the letter, for example, Qaf. Okay? Not Fatha, not Kasra, not Dhamma, but Sukoon. Everybody knows Sukoon?
Yes.
So every time you see one of these Sukoon on them, with Sukoon on them, then you have to perform Qalqalah. We need to now know how it sounds. So again, here is the colorful letters that we are going to need for Qalqalah. Qutb Jad. Or you can also say, don't be quick to jump or to judge. To pronounce with Qalqalah, we said that we need Sukoon, right? And a characteristic of Qalqalah is the quick movement of the tongue upon the articulation. We call it the Sifa, Sifa of the sound, or the property or the characteristic of the sound. It's a quick movement, and you shouldn't pronounce it either before or after. Don't pronounce Qalqalah before or after. If you are pretty good, it's actually impossible to do. So many people will make a mistake, and they will, instead of putting Sukoon, they will put Fatha or Kasra. For example, when they say قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدِ, that sounds like E, right? It should be قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ. Ahad. That is a proper Qalqalah. So the sound has to be Sukoon, not Fatha or Kasra. Now, something very important. You remember we said that, for example, when we make a mistake in Quran, we can call this lahan, right? And if the mistake is serious, we call it lahan jali, obvious mistake, or the mistake that changes the meaning of the Quran. And then the mistake that does not is called lahan khafi, means hidden. Now, for Qalqalah, we have also a division of types of Qalqalah. So Qalqalah has 3 types, okay? If you are really good in Tajweed, you will notice. We have 3 levels. Qalqalah Sughra, small Qalqalah. Qalqalah Kubra, bigger Qalqalah. And Qalqalah Akbar, the biggest Qalqalah or strongest Qalqalah. So a very easy way to remember, I don't want to make it too complicated for you, my brothers and sisters, is some Qalqalah are more soft than others. That's as simple as that. Some Qalqalah will be more soft, whereas others will be more marked or strong. Okay, so what are the strong, the middle, and the weak? We are going to identify them. Now you notice on this right column here, these are the situations where we call Qalqalah weak. In the middle column, the Qalqalah is strong or stronger than this one. And the last column here, it's the strongest type of Qalqalah. First, why do you think is this the strongest type of Qalqalah here? Do you notice anything in the letters that can remind you of something from last week? Anything special about these letters? Yes, brother Yusuf?
There's a shutter there.
Very good. Now, this already gives us an idea about what type of Qalqalah is the strongest. The strongest one is called Qalqalah Akbar. Akbar. What is Akbar? Allahu Akbar. The biggest.
Greatest.
Allah is the greatest. Okay. So Qalqalah Akbar is the strongest type. What does this mean? Well, when you have at the end of the ayah, a shadda. on one of the 5 letters we are talking about. The 5 letters qutb jad, you have a shadda on them, then the qalqala is the strongest. It is the strongest. Can you think of any examples from your personal memory? So listen to this one. لهب وتب لهب وتب لهب وتب تب. Then we go to the middle one. I will call it plus/minus. Qalqala kubra. And this one doesn't have a shadda, but it is the letter has sukoon at the end of a word. قل هو الله أحد قل هو الله أحد. So it's at the end of a word. MashaAllah, there's some drawing here. It's at the end of a word and there is a sukoon, but there is no shadda. Okay, that is called qalqala kubra. It's the medium type of qalqala. So قل هو الله أحد قل هو الله أحد. Here's another example. غاسق إذا وقب. Now, although we see there is a fatha here, but since it's the end of the ayah, when we stop, we said that this transforms into a sukoon, right? When you stop in the ayah, you're actually going to make it a sukoon. Very good. Or, for example, we have وَاللَّهُ مِنْ وَرَائِهِمْ مُحِيطٌ. So make sure you pronounce it with bouncing. You have to make it bounce, otherwise it's not qalqala. Okay. And we have another example with jim. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ. So this is the way to do qalqala kubra, meaning big middle qalqala. All right, then we go to qalqala sughra. Now the last type of qalqala is qalqala sughra, and this I'll call it minus. Okay, minus because it's the weakest type of qalqala, right? This one is actually in the middle part of a word. So you will find words, and if you notice well, in the middle part, there will be a sukoon on them. Any examples where words have a sukoon in the middle? So we have that. جعل أدعياءهم. So, and then we have another one where you have it in the middle here again. لم يجعل. This is a qalqala, but I would say it's not the strongest type of qalqala. So don't make it too strong. Don't say ألم يجعل. Okay, ألم يجعل. ألم يجعل. Okay. How about this one? الذي أطعمهم الذي أطعمهم فأثرن به نقعا فأثرن به نقعا حبل من مسد حبل من مسد. Okay, this is qalqala kubra. Very good. Excellent. And then we have another example here. We have the example يدخلون في دين الله يدخلون في دين الله. Okay, now let's practice, brothers and sisters. You did a good job, mashallah. We are going to practice with Surah Al-Ikhlas. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Let's continue with the next ayah, with the next chapter of the Quran. This is Surah Al-Adiyat on your left screen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد. You notice that it is underlined. It is underlined in red here, right? That's where you need to mark the qalqalah. That's where the qalqalah should be marked. Okay. So let's continue. والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد. Okay, let's do more exercises. So we have a few words that you can see on the screen here. All of them are taken from the Quran. So, فلق, أحد, كسب, صراط, أوزد, فهيج, أدراك, تجري, عدن, قبل, أبواب, أقوم. Okay, so that is Qalqalah. Now, homework for next week. You can practice reciting Surah Al-Masad, Surah 111 from the Quran, and you can send it using WhatsApp or Signal, up to you, inshallah. So let's practice Surah Al-Masad. All right. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. So only ba and dal. There's only two letters of qatb. Do you notice a few things here? Just want to teach you something. Do you know what's written here? ترتيبها 111. This Surah Al-Masad, ترتيبها means its order is 111. And آياتها, it means it has 5 ayah. So it just tells you its order is 111 and it has 5 ayats. It's five here. Okay? Just teaching you something. You probably already know that. Okay. Now, I want to give you the choice. If you already good in Surah Al-Masad, you can actually recite other surah instead. So you don't have to do Al-Masad. If you prefer, you can do either Surah Al-Buruj. You notice there's Al-Buruj, there's Qalqalah. That's Surah 85. Or you can do Surah Al-Tariq, Surah 86, or Al-Adiyat. Wal-Adiyati Dabiha. Okay, that's Surah 11. All of these have a lot of Qalqalah in them. So you can choose either Al-Masad or one of these 3 surah which are projected on your screen here. Just up to you if you want to create variety. Or if you really want, you can do all of them. It's up to you, inshallah. The more you recite, the more rewards you get, inshallah. So I want to show you this. MashaAllah. So we have again those 5 letters of Qutb. All of these are letters of Qalqalah. And every time you have one in that specific row, that's the letter we are targeting. So if we practice with Qaf first. أقفالها وتقواها. And here we have it at the end, so it's stronger. ما خلق. Okay, let's jump to this one now. Okay, طا نطعم. Make sure when you pronounce this طا to not pronounce that. Okay, it has to be clearly a طا, not a t. Wrong. If you do t, it's wrong. أطعمهم محيط. Okay, we go to number 3. با سبحانك. Now, do you notice something here? I just want to teach you something, okay? What is this here?
Matter.
What's this? Is it like a
It's-
printing error?
Instead of
Haha, mashallah. This is
2
Alif.
counts.
This is Alif, brothers and sisters, you know? In Arabic, we call this a different, it's a different type of Alif, you know?
Okay.
This is called the dagger Alif, dagger Alif. For example, when you write Allah, Allah, you have shadda here, and you have this, right? This is the same type of Alif. Allah, Allah. Okay, let's continue, my brothers and sisters. قبلك كان عقاب. Okay, we have 2 letters left, Jim and Dal. أجرهم يجعل ذات البروج. And then we have our last item here, which is Dal. قطب الجد. فقد أدخل أحد. Do a quick recap of what we did today. Today we have reviewed the quiz, and we have actually seen our last makhrij al-huruf, which is the empty space and mouth, the empty space between the mouth and the throat, which is actually responsible for huruf al-madd, which are the letters making the long sounds a, u, and e. A, u, e. Okay, so we have completed, alhamdulillah, we are finished with the letter, the makharij al-huruf. We are done with that. And we have 5 makharij al-huruf: the throat, the nose, the lips, the tongue, and the empty mouth and throat space. And then the second thing we did is to learn our new rule of Tajweed, which is called Qalqalah. And as you all know, there are 5 letters of Qalqalah, which are qa, ta, ba, jim, and dal. And we can remember them by saying qutbu jadd, or we can say it in English, don't be quick to jump, but it's better to remember in Arabic. And the homework is you can do Suratul Masad, which is chapter 111, to practice the Qalqalah. All right. If you don't have any questions, let me see if you have questions first, and then we can call it a day, inshallah. Any questions from brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have a question. Can you show me the chart where you show the Qalqalah, which one is stronger, one is less stronger, one
Okay.
is this one, that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me do that.
Jazakallah.
So let's have a quick notes here. Maybe we can do it in blue. So it is the strongest whenever we have the shadda, and especially if it's at the end of the words. That is the strongest one. Okay, it's plus, really strongest. We call it Qalqalah Akbar. And then it is medium when you have it at the end of words. Buruj, Ahad, Hasad. This one is middle strength. Okay, so when you stop here, you will have a sukun, and it will be middle strength. And the weakest form of qalqala is when you have it inside the word, in the middle of the word. So you have here, for example, the, and here you have ta here, and you have ta here. So it's not at the end, and it doesn't have a shadda, it's in the middle with sukun. That is the softest type of qalqala. So you don't have to force it too strong there. How does it sound? Is it okay?
Yeah, Jazakallah.
Yes. Brother, can you say the three together so we can feel the difference?
Okay, let me start with the strongest one. Al-haqq, ahad, al-abtar. Okay, so don't give yourselves headaches, brothers and sisters. As long as you do qalqala, I'm satisfied. Okay, that is the bottom line. You know, the worst thing you could do for me is to put qalqala where it doesn't belong. Okay, for example, you say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay, there are some reciters that I hear sometimes, they put qalqala where it shouldn't be. They put qalqala on sad, they put qalqala on sheen or on gha, on fa. So for me, as long as you have the 5 letters of qalqala respected, I would say don't worry too much about too strong or too weak at this point. You can refine it later. So I would suggest that first of all, respect the rule and then go to the more refined strength or weakness of the rule, okay? So the most important first is to respect the rule of qalqala. Okay, you got it? So we start with general and then we go to specific. The general is to learn the rule and to put it on the right letters. And the specific is to fix the strength. So let's just do the dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خير.